Today I would like to give you a mystic snapshot of those moments when the young Blessed Virgin Mary learned that she must leave the temple and take a husband. According to mystic Maria Valtorta, at age 12, Mary's face has lost its roundness and is now a perfect womanly oval. Her hair is no longer flowing loosely on her neck in soft curls, but is plaited in two thick braids that fall to her waist. Her hair is the color of pale gold. When she is not involved in her duties at the temple, she prays deeply and almost continuously. However close she feels to God, she does not dream that she is at all worthy to be considered to be the mother of the Messiah. One day she is summoned to the office of the high priest, who tells her that she is now a woman, and according to Israeli law she must become a wife and to bear a son to the Lord. Mary blushes profusely, and her eyes, downcast, filled with tears. She says that she wants nothing more than to spend her life praying to the Lord. The high priest says he realizes this, but the law must be upheld, and she must seek a husband. He tries to reassure her that, recognizing her royalty of being a descendant of David, her future spouse would also come from that house. He asks her if she knows anyone who could be considered for a husband. Mary blushes again and, in a trembling voice, says, "No, nobody." Zacharias, who is present, tells the high priest that, having lived in the temple since she was 3 years old, Mary could not be expected to know such things. The high priest says that they will leave the choice to God. A short time later, a large group of men gather at the temple. They range in age from 20 to about 50. They're all dressed in their best clothes as for a special feast. They've been summoned to the temple by the high priest to be considered to become the spouse of Mary. Joseph is among them. He's about 30 years of age, handsome, with short and rather curly hair, dark brown like his beard and mustache. He has rosy red cheeks, not olive-covered like most of the other men. His eyes are dark and deep and very serious, almost sad, until he smiles. Then they become gay, and he appears to be a youth in his early 20s. He's dressed in brown, very simple but neat. Most of the men are strangers to one another, but they all bear similar characteristics. This is because they all come from the house of David. A Levite priest enters, carrying a bundle of dried branches. They appear dead, except for one that has a blossom on it. This is rather strange because it is cold and nothing is in bloom. They are informed that each branch has a name written on it. The high priest enters and declares that they are gathered for the purpose of selecting a husband for a virgin of the temple. He adds that this particular virgin is the pride of the temple, and that God decreed that the man whose name is written on the blooming branch will be her spouse. Each man comes forward to claim his branch when announced. Some who are handed theirs are disappointed, but some of the older men are relieved when they are not able to claim the blooming branch. Finally, the high priest hands Joseph the blessed branch. Joseph is embarrassed, and his rosy cheeks blush even redder as he accepts the branch. The high priest declares that God has chosen Joseph to be the spouse of the most beautiful flower in Israel, and that he must do all that he can to be worthy of her. All the men leave, except for Joseph and Zacharias. Zacharias is related to Mary and has the honor of escorting her into the room. She enters and is introduced to Joseph of Nazareth. The high priest gives them his blessing. Joseph faces Mary, whose head is bowed. Joseph is blushing and is very, very nervous, and he searches for some words to reassure Mary. Suddenly his face lights up, and he smiles, and he tells Mary that he knew her when she was a baby, and that he was a friend of her father's. He remembers the day she was born because of the violent storm that preceded her birth and the thunderbolts that struck everywhere except the vicinity of her parents' home. He adds, "And who can forget the magnificent rainbow, such as had never been seen before or since?" Mary gradually raises her face and offers Joseph her little hand. It is so tiny in the short but broad carpenter hands of Joseph's. Mary very timidly says, "Thank you, Joseph." Joseph tells her that he will do everything in his power to make her happy. He offers her the blooming branch. She's moved by his words and sincerity. She also tells him that she had made a vow to remain a virgin all her life. Joseph, also a virgin, eagerly assures her that they will live in holy chastity and love each other as the angels do. He says they will blend their vows so that the Lord might send the promised Redeemer sooner than predicted. Of course, neither one of them knew that they were the chosen couple. An interesting observation regarding the early relationship of Mary and Joseph. Now, while he knew that she was special, of course, he did not know that she would be the virgin who would give birth to the promised Messiah. And while he held her in reverence, he did insist on a few things. For example, after they arrived at Mary's ancestral home after their wedding, Joseph described a large amount of work necessary to make their home as comfortable as possible. See, at one time, Joachim and Mary's parents, had been wealthy with a lot of land and animals, but they had fallen on hard times with damage done by the Romans and the expensive illness of Joachim before he died. A road constructed by the Romans cut down 3 rooms from the house, and much of the gardens were lost. Well, anyway, Joseph was telling Mary how much he would go about restoring her home. And she said, "Joseph, it doesn't matter if only a little is left. It will be sufficient for me. I will work." Well, Joseph turned and faces Mary, and in a very serious and a very firm voice he said, "No, Mary, I will work. You will do nothing but weave and sew things for the house. I am young and strong, and I am your husband. Please do not humiliate me with your work." Mary meekly agreed and says, "I will do as you wish." Joseph says, "Yes, in this case I do wish it. In everything else your wishes are the law, but not in regard to this." And just like that, the matter was settled, never to be revisited again. This is Joe Roberts.